Hey everyone! Welcome back to the Chat Sphere. This is your July edition of the Chat Sphere, and I will be going live today with my dear friend Kiki Mason. Kiki's the one that I do all the fire dancing retreats with, and Kiki is incredible. So Kiki is someone I met through Sophia Tom and Temple Body Arts, and we're going to be talking about fire. We're both fire spinners. We met at the Temple Body Arts Retreat, which is like an intentional feminine leadership program led by Sophia Tom, and we will be bringing the Temple Body Arts magic through our fire retreats, and we have a big one coming up. Hi Jessica. I have a big one coming up in August that Jessica's going to, and we're going to be bringing through fire, play, ritual, community, and connection in fire alchemy. I'm seriously so excited about this. It has been such a big dream of mine to share what I do. It is a dream of mine to share what I do and to bring this magic through in a bigger wave, in a bigger way than I can just myself. And so this is such a cool thing to do. To bring people together, to teach humans how to dance with fire. Like, how many of you who are tuning in right now know what fire dancing is? If you don't, let me know. Fire dancing is where we use props. We put them in our hands. This is a rock, but we like hold basically a prop with a wick on it, with a thing in our hands that we dip into fuel and we light it on fire. And we dance with it and we flow with it, and it becomes a moving meditation that is truly life-changing in so many ways. So Kiki and I met while hosting, here she is, while hosting a night around the pool where we were doing this. We were flowing, and we realized that we had this really similar way of connecting to the fire, of showing up with the fire, this very feminine way of being that allows for us to be in the flow, to be in the way of the magic, not in the way of the magic, but like in the magic and weaving with it. It's pretty incredible. So Kiki, here we go, we'll be talking a little bit about how we came to the fire and how we came to be so excited for what we do. Hi!
Hello!
Oh, it's so good to see you.
Yay!
I'm sorry I got the times wrong.
It's okay. It worked out great. I was actually initiating my housemate into the fire, so we had that hour to play with fire fans in the hot sun so she can join me tonight. So I'm like, all right, here we go.
You can play with fire fans in the hot summer sun, then you can totally do it at dark.
Oh yeah, it's so much harder in the daytime because you can't really see the fire and it's way hotter, so...
And it just feels smokier.
Yeah. So anyway, cool.
Yeah. Well, good. I was just giving everyone a little intro on you and me and how we met.
Yay.
And how we have such a similar, I don't know, view of coming to the fire from this really intentional place.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, look at you.
What is
Are you wearing
happening?
makeup? You just put on more glitter.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to put my glitter on for the show, but I'm all dressed. And I was like, what time is it? I'm like, it's time. So anyway, I don't even know. I've never done an IG. There we go.
It's raining glitter all over me now.
It is. Why? This is so fun.
I know. I hope that everyone who's watching is also enjoying us playing with filters. More sparkles. Wow, does this put makeup on me? Whoa.
Yeah. And
You know, I have to say, it is really weird when there's ones that like make you look thinner or make your eyes look bigger or like shave off cheekbones. I don't know.
whoops.
It's weird.
Sorry.
Whoa.
All right, I need to like not do this right
Okay,
now.
yeah, no,
All
we're.
right.
Oh, I like this one though. Okay.
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 Wait. Do one. I'll do that one.
Okay, I'll do this one. Okay. So, uh, I was just talking about fire alchemy and how excited I am to co-create with you again and to bring this really deep feminine way of approaching the fire with this like space holding, healing, intentional perspective. But also, I didn't get to this part yet, but coupled with like, fuck yeah, let's light it all on fire!
Ooh,
Right? It's like
that's
both of these.
yeah. Yeah, I love that like dichotomy of the energies coming into it, because I think we both take this like so seriously, and it's like it's serious when you play with fire and you have to be very safe and careful, and there's all of this, you know, just like holding the container for people because a lot comes up. And then there's
Mm-hmm.
also this beautiful like fuck it, let's just play and just like, with wild abandonment. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's this really, I think you and I both enjoy being able to play in both of those spaces and being able to allow
Mm-hmm.
others to come with us on that journey. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what
Yeah.
fire alchemy is really, is the overarching theme.
Mm-hmm. I
The
was waving at
alchemy.
Kelly, who just tuned in, who's also going to be doing the thing.
Yay! Aww.
Yeah, I think it's really important to walk both of those lines with fire because it's this fire has so many different ways of being, right? It can like simmer and keep you warm and kind of is these coals or a really beautiful candle that illuminates in a small way, or it's a raging bonfire or a
Mm-hmm.
house fire burning down your house, or like
Yeah.
burns you, or it's a wildfire. Like
Mm-hmm.
you need to harness and understand all of the different aspects of it, right? The like nourishing, the healing aspects, but then also the destructive and the transformational ones as well.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. And I think that's why
hmm
it's such a powerful practice, is because it has so much of that, so much opportunity for deep transformation and just all of that. So
hmm
yeah, I think
yeah.
that's why I've kept doing it for so long. If it didn't intrigue me so much and have so many layers to it, it might be like something else that I've like put aside or just like haven't been, fully invested in for so many years. Like this is probably
hmm
fire is probably my longest relationship with anyone.
Oh my gosh.
11,
Me
11,
too,
going on
actually.
12 years, right?
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. And then it's something that, yeah, it's like a relationship, and look at how it's evolved from the moment you first lit your first prop on fire
hmm
to how you feel about
So, tell me about your fire origin story.
it. Okay.
How
Yeah.
did you get here? How did you get to be a professional fire dancer and a fire mama on the island of St. Croix in the Virgin Islands?
Oh man, it was definitely a calling. And the fire like when people see me now, they just assume, they're like, oh, you must have been a pyromaniac as a kid and you must have loved just playing with fire. And it's so interesting to let people know that that is absolutely the opposite of how I started with the fire. And I started actually through learning about poi. For those of you who know poi, it is a fire prop, a flow prop. It's a Maori tribal word that means ball on a rope or ball on a chain. And you do these
hmm
coordinated movement patterns with both hands and do all this fancy stuff. And so I was working with kids with special needs as an occupational therapist, doing a lot of brain-based research. And I came across a study where they were using poi with kids, and it showed how it enhanced their reading and writing scores. And I was like, that's really cool. And I had some friends who did poi, and I'd seen fire poi before, and I had no interest whatsoever in doing it myself. It was like cool to watch on the beach, like from afar, but I was like not drawn to it at all. And then what intrigued me though was the fact that it involved like helping children, and it involved how the brain can like become more focused and integrated, because I love neuroscience, and it was just like, all right. So it was like it found its way in, and so I had a month off between work contracts, and I found a fire dancing retreat in Costa Rica with Jeremy Levine. He's my first poi teacher. I want to give props to him. He's amazing. And so I went down for 2 weeks to learn poi, and I was the absolute worst at it. I mean, I was like, I'm telling you, I was so bad. And I was like, oh my
I was
God,
so bad at poi too.
oh God, it was so hard. And I was
So
like, my
hard.
left side doesn't even talk to my right side. And here I am, I'm thinking I'm going to teach kids how to do this, and I can't even do it myself. I'm completely not integrated, not coordinated. And so I had a great teacher though. And he was like, Kiki, we're going to figure this out. And so he learned a new way to teach because of me. And I'm a kinesthetic learner, so I like to move my body through it. So he was across from me, and he would take the poi from opposite and like pull me through the moves until I could feel it, and then I could do it. And he'd never done that before. I was like, he's like, I'm going to try this with you. And it worked. And so then I had 2 weeks to practice and play and have the classes. And then towards the end of the retreat, we were going to light them on fire. So, you know, it's exciting. I'm like, okay, I'm going to cover every part of my body, even though it's April in Costa Rica and it's really hot. And so I was so scared of burning myself. So I just like tried to cover every part of my body. And then when the poi like was on fire and it hit me, I realized, oh, it's not going to I'm not going to spontaneously combust like I thought I would. But the thing that happened that really shocked me and surprised me and then intrigued me was this massive wall of fear that came up and presented itself. I mean, just massive. It was just like right here, and I could barely breathe. I couldn't really move. I couldn't think. All I could do was just like circles alongside my body. I'm like, okay, thank God that's over with. Okay, I'm going to try it again. It's going to get easier. Of course it is.
Thank God that's over. Let's do it again.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, you know, it's the only way it'll get easier. And all my, you know, my retreat friends are doing it again, and it wasn't any easier the second time or the third time. And I'm watching my friends, like it's getting easier for them. And so it just kind of made me pause, and I was like, where does this fear come from? And why is it so like hard for me? And I'm watching other people move through it, you know, easier. And it got me really curious, because I couldn't really find an origin for it, and I didn't know I had it until it was right in front of me. And I remember saying to myself, you know, if I could conquer this fear, this would be really powerful for me. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. And so I literally had a conversation with the fire, and I said, okay, look, I want to overcome this fear of you. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know why I have it. So I'm gonna work through it. And I said, I need baby steps. I can't be pushed. I need to go slow. Like, and it's like, this is the way it's going to be. And I feel at the time like the fire was talking back to me. It's like, all right, we got you. No worries. You know, we can take it slow. And so for the next couple years, that's what I did. I mean, I got really good at like poi flow without fire, and it became like a moving meditation. And I moved to the island I moved to the island of St. Croix and was looking for people who did it here, and there wasn't really anyone. So I just did it on the beach all the time, just to like help my soul figure out what was happening moving to this island. And I'd gone through a pretty heart-wrenching breakup, and yeah, it became like, you know, the space for me to just be and just move and feel and heal. And the fire, I did very little, like maybe once every 6 months. And it was still really terrifying. I'm like, oh. And then, but I kept doing it, and I had some friends visit from that first retreat, and they're like, and they were much better than me, and they said, Kiki, we're gonna do fire when I come to the island. And I'm like, yes, okay. And I just and they pushed me, you know, to do it more, and I felt like I had community there and support. And then I just kept doing it, baby steps. And then I'll never forget where I was in the burn. I was on this island on the North Shore, and I lit my poi up. And as I was hearing the whoosh, whoosh, the sound, I was instantly calm. And I just felt so calm and peaceful. And I didn't have that like supercharged fear, nervous system reaction anymore. I was just calm. And I was that like moment of like, oh my gosh, this I finally had reached that point that I had desired for, you know, 2.5 years. And it was just this beautiful feeling of like, wow, this is like so symbolic of life. You know, here's this chaos of the fire, you know, the fire is symbolizing the chaos of life, and here I am calm in the midst of it. And I was just like in awe of the journey. And that experience was when it like ignited, supercharged something in me that I felt so amazing that I wanted to share it with everyone. It was just like, it just activated something in me. It's like, I want everyone to feel this. And almost probably to a fault, I would hand people fire after that. But that's the beginning of my story. So I've learned not to just hand fire to anyone, and, you know, how to navigate that. But that was sort of the initial, like, everybody needs to do this. It's so amazing.
It is the fire. Pino, I saw that you just joined. Do you spin fire yet, Pino? Interesting. But yeah, it is like everyone has a different journey with it, I will say, you know. And fires are to teach something different to everyone, but there's just something so transformational about sharing it. And I think that something I love so much about you is that there's this fire burning inside you from your own experience, and having it be so deep and so rich and so transformational that, you know, it's like, how do we pass this on? What's our almost responsibility to share this inspiration? Because we found so much from it. It's like, what do they say? You like see the burning bush. I don't know, that's like a metaphor, right? But like it's actually burning in our in our hands, you know, but you see it and then you're like, oh, I have to tell the people this is important to do. And
that's what it felt
beautiful.
like. It was so, it was almost beyond my like physical control to not share it with people, you know. And definitely has led to some amazing experiences within the sharing, and within realizing like the responsibility of when you share it and how you hand fire to someone and how they receive it, you know, because like how I'm sharing it might not be the way that I want somebody to receive it. And so that's been like the art of, you know, understanding that piece of it. And, you know, that's like why I joined Sophia Tom and met you through the Temple Body Arts, is because I had started so many wildfires and I was like, shit, what am I doing? I just want people to just be alive and burn and like feel connected, and it's not working out that way.
It's not how I envisioned it.
And
Yeah.
so I was really struggling with how to share the fire in a way that didn't create wildfires for people,
Hmm.
because I could see it and it's like, oh man, if they could just get to this next step and move through it, then it would open up to this like incredible like experience. But
Hmm.
not everyone's ready to open up in that way, or like face, because fire is like a mirror. It
Hmm.
illuminates like everything, and that's hard sometimes.
It's
Yeah.
so hard sometimes. Oof. Um, so I'm struck by your words in sharing it in this intentional way, as we have so many people in our Ignite Firekeeper community tuning into this chat. Amanda, Melissa,
Laura.
um, Maura,
Hi.
Meg, and Amanda Tron, and like it feels so good to have this community of humans who get it, and I think a big a big reason of why I want to create with you across the globe, um, is because it's really important to come to fire from this way. Like we've both been to enough fire festivals and Burning Man and all of that, where we see humans like put fire in their hands, or like put this knowledge into their hands and then spin out, like literally spin out, burn out, and just like take it in this way where they get a little ungrounded, very ungrounded with
Yeah.
it. And what I love so much about working with you, flowing with you, watching you, knowing you, is that there's this grounded and elemental aspect around the fire. Like when we plan our retreats, our gatherings, like we look at how to ground everyone into their sense of play, how to ground everyone into their sense of wonder and their sense of purpose and their like creative juices, as well as their ferocity and their burning fires within them, but like to flow like water and soar like air and ground into earth, feel the spirit, and then light it all on fire.
Yeah.
Right? But I think it's a testament to the groups that I see emerging from these Ignite Firekeeper bits, that we like seed this intention of like, oh, we want people to connect to themselves and each other and support each other and transform themselves through fire. And like looking at the people that we've been flowing with, and we've kind of, I guess, been like lab ratting. That feels
True.
terrible to say. It's not though, but but to like share this really intentionally and to see it sit with people in the way in which we intended it, where it is a connective tissue rather than
Yeah.
something,
Mm-hmm.
that's different.
I
And
just
Meg
had,
says we both make it feel so nourishing.
oh, it is. It's just this warm embrace. I had one of my fire sisters and students from St. Thomas. She just had her year anniversary. I taught a fire course over there last year in July, and
Mm.
she showed up. Her name's Diane. She's coming to Fire Alchemy, and she showed up, and I said, why are you taking this course? And she said, I came for healing. I've been through some stuff this
Mm.
year, and I came for healing. And it just kind of dropped me into like, oh, okay, she's serious. And so, I mean, she called me last night and she said, Kiki, I've been, she calls it fire therapy. And so she like she gets her medicine. It's like all her props are her medicine. And so she told me last night, she's like, yeah, I've been doing fire manifestations and everything. She's like, I've been manifesting so much. And she's like, I'll call it in with the
Oh.
fire. And she's like, you never told me. She's like, you didn't tell me about this fire manifestation. And I said, well, that's for you, to figure that out. That's like your journey. Like we can open people up and offer this, you know, the fire element as a tool for transformation and manifestation. But it has been her willingness and her journey to show up like in that space to find that on her own. So that's like, I love
Mm-hmm.
hearing stories like that, because it's like, this is, she says all the time, like, Kiki, you've done this for me. I'm like, I handed you the fire in this way, and this is what you have done. Like, now it's your
Mm-hmm.
journey. This is your fire story now. It's not what I have done. It's what you are doing actively for
Mm-hmm.
yourself. And so just hearing, like, yeah. So I love hearing how people use the fire for themselves and like their own unique path with it. So that's yeah, just wanted to share
So
that.
I want to see this to anyone who's watching, who's a fire spinner, a fire dancer, to share your stories with other people and with me and Kiki, or maybe just in the chat right now, because it's so incredible to hear how everyone relates to fire differently and to hear people's fire journeys, like I'm always just so floored about how people come to the fire, and showing up with it over and over. It helps build confidence in themselves where all of a sudden, they can't show up or, you know, say no to someone, to find their boundaries, find their discernment, and then all of a sudden, after working with the fire for a long time, one of my students from last year was telling me this, like, they weren't able to, say no to a toxic coworker. And then through working with the fire, through standing in their power, standing in themselves, they could remember that power and that confidence they had in themselves in that moment, and were actually able to define those boundaries and hold that container for
Mm-hmm.
themselves through the fire, and the fire being that teacher to stand strong. It's that mirror, exactly as you said earlier. Like, whatever you need, the fire will illuminate for you. And what you bring to it, honestly, again and again, the fire will illuminate. Like,
Yeah.
if you need, yeah, what do you need? Just ask the fire for it. Like, literally, I love talking to the fire.
Yeah. And it's a pretty present moment experience,
I'd say
but
exclusively present moment experience. You
it's
can't be
pretty
anywhere
much,
else.
you're not anywhere else. You definitely, yeah. If you ever want to, like, um, have a practice that teaches present moment awareness, I would say there's nothing greater than fire to teach that.
Hmm.
Um, and
Yeah. Because once your attention wavers, the fire will, just give you a little bite, a little
hey,
kiss. Be like,
hey, I'm right
hi,
here.
hey,
Hey,
hey, hey, don't let your attention waver.
hey, right here, right here. Yeah,
Right? Right here, right here.
yeah.
Um, I think fire is the way that I actually learned how to meditate effectively in
Mm,
that way. Like, it actually helped me drop in, because I'd always be like, oh yeah, I dance and meditate. And I had meditated a whole bunch as well. But I think actually working with the fire taught me what it was to have unwavering attention. And then I could then bring that into stillness, or silence or
yeah.
contemplation.
I tell
But
people, like, I like some days and some weeks have been so challenging and trying, and it's like, I know that every Saturday and Mondays I get to release whatever. And so
hmm.
for me, having that space carved out, it's like I feel like I can be such a better human throughout my week, because I know I have that, like, dedicated time to just burn
Hmm.
it away and release it and honor
And
whatever is
so,
there. And it's like,
mhm. And so
because
you
people
have
ask
your
me, like, how do you stay, like, how do you do this? And I'm like, because of the fire. Like, I would be a completely different person without this practice, because
hmm.
it allows those of us who, use it in this way to operate on a pretty intense level. I feel like, because
Hmm.
we're used to that intensity, and so to be able to manage, like, a lot of fire, symbolically, it's we're comfortable with that for the most
Hmm.
part.
Yeah, that makes me think about two things, right? The one, the fear response, and two, the coming back to center. Fire makes you look at your fear response, like your little physical fear response and your emotional fear response, right? It like right in the face. And it
Yeah.
makes you really overcome that as you keep on showing up. And that's a great metaphor for juggling a lot of things and being really busy or being really intense or getting a lot done because you know how to move through those fears, how to look at them, how to transmute it, how to move through it, when to listen to it, and when to be like, okay, whew, I burn you away.
Yeah.
Um, and then coming to still point, like the fire teaches us this center, still point, our power center, solar plexus, where everything comes from. And then we can operate from that place and not like the extremities that get us ungrounded or
Yeah.
confused necessarily.
Yeah. And then when you're able to meet the world from that calm, centered presence, like to me that is such a gift to anyone we come in contact with, to be able to meet
Mm-hmm.
our friends, our family, our community in that space, not reactionary, not, you know, anxious or all of that, that we're human, so we feel all of that, and to have a tool that helps us just to feel calm and centered and present amidst chaos is such a
Mm-hmm.
gift. And I just imagine a world where that is how we meet each other, in this calm
Mm-hmm.
way, you know, even with wildfires, even with like stuff going on. And so that's like, that's really where the heart of my sharing it has gone into. It's like I've realized how beautiful that is to meet people from that space, and what a gift it
Mm-hmm.
is for all of us, who everyone's going through so much and dealing with so much and managing so much, and be able to meet that with just calmness and presence
Mm-hmm.
is, it's a beautiful thing.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Meg wrote into the chat earlier too that fire is the thing, the practice that helps her get out of her head as an overthinker and into her body, which I think is like completely coupled with what you're saying, right? Like, how present are you? Are you up here or are you in here? Are you showing up from this place,
Yeah.
this centered, grounded place? And fire is that practice that teaches us over and over to do that. Um, and I love that you have consistency with your fire practice because you have shows on Saturdays and then fire practice on Mondays. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, well, we have shows on Mondays as well.
Oh, shows on Mondays. So
Yeah,
shows on Saturdays and Mondays.
Saturdays and Mondays. Yeah.
That's right. At the Buccaneer
At
on
the bus.
Mondays.
Yeah.
And at the Palms on Saturdays
Yeah.
still?
And
Really?
yeah, we have a big show tomorrow night. It's the owner's last Saturday. They've sold the Palms.
Oh, what? Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're leaving island, and it's their last Saturday, and so I've called in all the fire dancers on the island, pretty much, that I am in contact with, and who dance with me, and I just put the word out, and it's like, hey, and
I'll
Grace,
be there.
will you be there? Okay,
I'll
all of
be
you are
there.
invited Saturday night. Yes. And then Grace, who's 9 months pregnant, she's due on
10 months
Sunday.
pregnant now?
10 months. Yeah, she's due July 11th, and she voiced on Tuesday night that she wanted to do one last fire show with palms before she goes into labor. So she's gonna dance with fire palms, with the belly out. Yeah, and
What if, oh my gosh, what if she goes into labor while she's fire dancing? Isn't it, it's going to be a fire child?
it's gonna be, yeah.
It's going to be a
I have a
fire child.
feeling she's gonna go into labor that night for sure. I mean, maybe not, but
Who
that's
knows?
just, who knows. Yeah. So I messaged her yesterday, and I was like, I had this vision of her wearing the fire wings,
Oh my gosh.
and I was like, oh, should I ask? Should I ask her? I really want her to do it. And so I did. And I'm like, hey, you want to wear the fire wings? And she was like, oh, that sounds amazing, but no. And I was like,
Maybe just palms.
I said, okay, I almost erased that message to you, but can you just picture the epicness of you with those fire wings?
Mm.
She's like, yeah. She's like, how about we do it after the baby's born and I'm holding him? Can we do that? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't
I don't know
know.
about that. Maybe
Maybe,
with the baby watching you.
yeah, maybe let's have the baby inside of you. And then,
Like
yeah.
layer of like protection package around
Yes.
baby.
Like, and then these conflicts about like what's safe
Hmm.
come up, because that sounds amazing, but then you're like, wait a second.
Right. I find that to be a huge thing in like stepping into fire mama role, as we
Yeah.
both are very much. It's like I can do some pretty crazy stuff, but I don't really want to tell you to do it
Yeah.
because I don't want to be responsible about that, or
Hmm.
like set that precedent for what's okay and what's not and what's safe.
It's why I
But it
stopped
is,
spinning fire on a boat.
oh, right. Yep.
Because people be like, oh, Kiki does it, I can do it. And it's like, no, I can only do it because I've been fire dancing for over 10 years and there's like 20 protocol steps that I follow in order to do
Hmm.
this semi-safely. And I stopped doing it
Right.
because it's like it's too much. It's not
Yeah.
safe. Don't spin
No.
fire on a boat. Anyone, don't do it. Just
Don't do it.
don't do
It's
it.
like I started spinning fire in this one venue, and then now they're having all these other people spin fire in this venue where there's like, I don't know if it's super safe, and I don't think that they're using really safe practices or having like safeties, and it's this kind of thing where I'm like, but that's not how I started it. I like had all these safety practices and told you not to do that, but they just wanted fire so much that they just hire anyone, and I think that's a
Mm-hmm.
level of responsibility, but also dangerous because then like it gives fire spinning a bad name. If a fire spinner lights a boat sail or a venue on fire, even though we're
Yeah.
fully insured, it still mars the community. So if you're listening to this, don't spin fire unless you're fully trained. You've gone through probably one of our fire safety trainings. Don't just try it
Mm-mm.
because it is super dangerous. And if you're
It
just
is.
starting out, like don't go start performing right away.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Oh, Jessica's saying that happens with aerial stuff too. Absolutely, it's an adventure sport, basically. Fire and aerial.
Yeah.
You have to
I I
really
remember
know what you're doing.
I would, it's and there's one thing about like when you strap fire to yourself and you're not just
Mm,
holding it where you can drop it. And
mm-mm,
so I realized that, and it's like for me to be able to do it because of my experience, um, I feel safe doing it, but it just really worry, it's like, do you understand what it means to strap fire to you? Do you understand like what's going to happen to your like whole nervous system and the danger of it? And so there's like different props that bring different responsibilities to it. And that was a tough one
mm-hmm.
for me, leading a fire troop. And then, some of the girls like, oh, Kiki wears a fire hoop skirt. It's like, yeah, because I made it and I understand everything about this fire hoop skirt and I've practiced in it multiple times and I've actually lit it on fire and put it out, so it's just like this whole process to get where I can like perform in it. And then somebody just
Mm-hmm.
sees me and they're like, oh, I can do it too. And then I was like, oh God, oh God. It's like terrifying. And it's that fire mama role. It's like, if something happens to you, I feel, it's on me. And yeah,
Responsible. Yeah.
a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
I almost quit fire dancing altogether after Linda Farkas passed away. It just
Mm-hmm.
like hit me hard because she was like one of my biggest role models and I just emulated her and yeah, I had a tough time after that. Just like, you know what, maybe it's not worth it. I don't want anyone to like watch me do something and then hurt themselves because I
Mm-hmm.
did it. And yeah, there was a point there. I was like, should I even be doing this? And then you
Right.
find, yeah, you find a way to like, okay, well, let me recenter, reground, and like really think about this and the dangers of it. And there's all these things to consider with
Mm-hmm.
fire. The fuel.
Right. Yeah, the fuel is toxic, like carcinogenic, hugely. and you get it places and lit on fire. I think too, like some of the venues I do perform at are like indoors, and you can't just throw your gear on the ground because it's concrete or it's outside. You know, like it's strapped to you. Like you literally can't just be like, okay, let me just throw this to the audience. You know, throw this on this place. It can be so crazy to just think about the
Oh,
responsibility and how much goes into everything. You know,
yeah. I'm
to
just
keep
reading
it all safe.
Jessica's story about her mom's place burning down. And that's, yeah, there's
Mm.
also like this whole destructive nature of fire that comes up for me when you know, with fires that happen, the wildfires, and it's like, it makes me pause and I'm just like, here I am dancing with it. And like, what is, and here people are like, their whole lives are destroyed by this element that I am dancing with. And
Mm-hmm.
it just, it's really, it's hard for me to like post any video of like, oh, look at me with the fire, look, I got my next show. And like somebody's house has, and whole communities have been wiped out. And so that's another thing that
Mm-hmm.
really like takes me into a pause of like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
how can, yeah, what is my role in
I
this
also,
reality here as
yeah,
a fire
but
dancer?
if I think that in two ways it's healing. One, for you to be thinking about like the multiplicities of fire and its impact in the world, um, and thusly how then to be safer with fire. So you're not causing things to get on fire. You're not causing people to get hurt or burned, or you're not
Yeah.
teaching people to do it in an unsafe way where they cause fires or burn their esophaguses or burn their hair off.
Yeah.
Um, but then also like how healing it can be to be using the fire from an empowered place. Like,
Yeah.
like dancing with it versus having it be this destructive quality, to harness it for art in a really safe way, to then take that chaos and put the structure to it so that way it can be
Mm-hmm.
used, understood, related to, and like kind of having a conversation with it. Because every time we light up a prop, it's a conversation with the prop. It's a conversation with the fire. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how do I interact with you today? What's my energy level?
Mm-hmm.
What's my surrounding space? What's the temperature? What is the audience expecting? What are you thinking, fire? What's the wind doing? What's the moisture in the air? It's like this whole conversation that you have to be fully aware of. I think
Yeah.
responsible.
I was just reading Meg's comment. Yeah, I wanted to say that I have had several women and a few men come to me over the years with like tragic fire stories, and we've used it as a healing path and to really like transform and rewrite that story. I just recently had one a month ago, and it was so beautiful to witness her work through that with the fire and to meet the fire with her own power,
Mm-hmm.
and feeling and create a new story around it. And that was really, it's like, let's create a new story with fire, while we move through that and like release that, honor it, and rewrite it. And it it can be that for people, and it's so amazing um, when people meet the fire with that in their history, their background, and then just an honoring. It's such an honor to guide people through that. And a lot of times people don't tell me those stories until they like come to me for class or one-on-one. We're halfway into like the movement process, and then the story comes through, and I'm just like, oh, okay, wow.
I have a bunch of those too. People are like, yeah, I want to do this thing. And then all of a sudden they're like, so I'm actually terrified of this because, you know,
Yeah.
traumatic fire. And it's I Kate Houlihan, Kate Fuego, just
Yeah.
sent me, can't remember her name, but it's this amazing woman whose house burnt down in a fire and she lost her mother in the fire and actually came to fire dancing to heal that and has this beautiful TED talk about it. I will send it to you.
Oh, yeah.
That down. But
Yeah.
I want her to come to Ignite this woman and
Yes.
share about that. So we'll
Mm,
see. Um, because it's such a healing, it can be such a healing practice. And it's not for everybody, but um,
no.
I know so many people who have been like, fire's not for me. I'm never gonna spin fire. That's what I thought at first when I saw fire. I was like, cool, whatever. Yeah, like that's cool, but I'd rather be doing my like belly dance and silk veil stuff.
You too.
And then all of a sudden someone put fire fans in my hands and I was like, oh shit,
Whoa.
this is great. I'm like, I'm terrified. Can I do it again?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's intense.
Hmm.
I also want to honor your time.
Yeah, my phone's about to die too.
And you have to go to a fire show.
I have a fire show tonight at the Ridge Tree Farm.
Cool.
Yeah, it's one of the first places I ever fire danced on this island or anywhere. And so every time I get to dance up there, it's like honoring my fire origin and my roots. So this is very timely to be sharing a bit more of my story. So thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Thanks for being you. I love you, Kiki.
I love you. I love you so much.
So check out what we do together if you're watching this, because Kiki and I have just such big intentions for sharing this fire and for flowing. So the invitation is open for you, any person, any ability, any gender. We have opportunities for you to lean in, whether you travel to one of our retreats or whether you tune into what we're doing. I'm in Chicago and Kiki's in St. Croix, so follow us. And if you want to float the fire, we're here for you.
Yeah. One of my absolute favorite things in the entire world is to initiate new fire dancers. It's the most beautiful thing every single time I get to witness it and be a part of it. It is so beautiful. And yeah, it's that witnessing and honoring that first ignite, that first fire. It's just, yeah. So we welcome all the newbies and all the ones who have danced with fire to be a part of the witnessing and the honoring of each person and each new person that comes to the fire. And that's, I feel like, how we really build the support in the community and keep passing it on. Yeah. So
And keep having each other's backs and keep
we need each other.
bringing each other back to this right relationship with fire and responsibility with it to take care of each other and support each other. And I'm just brimming so full of love too, looking at all these names here in the chat who are watching, who were fire virgins when we met you, and now you share the fire with others, and it feels so impactful. So yeah, to have witnessed your first burns and now to see you with big fire gear.
Oh, yay.
Okay, well, have a wonderful fire show, Kiki.
Thank you, my love. Enjoy
I love you.
The rest of your evening bliss. I'll talk to you soon.
Well, I have burlesque and hula hoop shows tonight. So.
Woohoo!
Yeah! Okay, I love you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Bye.
Yes. Bye, everyone. Bye, Meg.